So we're in Hebrews chapter 12, and the last two verses, verse 28 and 29. It says this: "Let us be grateful for receiving a kingdom that cannot be moved, and thus let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire." Alright, so this is the verse that we are focusing on, but of course we looked at a few other verses around this verse last week. But you know, where it says, "Let us be grateful for receiving," last week we talked about what the concept is in the original writings, which is translated receiving, and it actually means to associate with oneself. In other words, to associate something with yourself. And so when it's talking about receiving an unshakable or immovable kingdom, it's talking about the fact that we are grateful that we can identify our lives as being a part of this kingdom, part of an immovable kingdom. That's incredible, isn't it? We can make this our identity. We can actually become the kingdom kind of person because we are actually identifying with it and associating ourselves with what the kingdom of God is about. Yeah. And so to do that means, you know the old saying, you become like those you hang around with. Well, guess what? The more you hang around with Jesus, the more we're going to become like Him. The more we associate ourselves with the kingdom, the more we are going to become a kingdom kind of person. And so I'm saying, let us be grateful, let us be thankful that we have the privilege of being able to associate ourselves with an immovable kingdom. Isn't that awesome? All right? And thus let us offer to God acceptable worship with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. So I just want to talk about four things this morning out of these couple of verses. About what I think are keys here to receiving the kingdom. Keys to associating ourselves and having the kingdom associated with us. And so the first one is awe. And I'm going backwards through this verse actually, these verses. So the first one is awe. And you know, it says with reverence and awe, because our God is a consuming fire. Yeah. Now, of course, the old fire and brimstone preachers love this verse, because to preach on our God is a consuming fire is a pretty good verse if you're a fire and brimstone preacher, isn't it? You know? But it's actually a statement that links to what comes before it, because it says for or because. All right? Our God is a consuming fire. And so the reason that it talks about awe is because that's the response to a God who's a consuming fire. Yeah? Yeah. And so, you know, our God is pretty incredible, really. He controls everything that exists. All He's got to do is withhold our next breath and we are no longer here. Now that's an interesting thought, isn't it? So not only is it a consuming fire, but He's the Lord of life. He controls life and death, you know. And but He is the creator of all things. He is the one who is over all. He rules over all, and so on. And so He is above every other God. He's above every other king. He is above everything. Why would we not be in awe of Him? Yeah? You see, I mentioned earlier about the fact that Prince Harry's coming for a few weeks in Australia. You know, and you know, that's going to be news for a while, and Prince Harry will probably be Prince Harry and do his thing while he's here, I presume. And but you know, if Queen Elizabeth came, it'd be a whole different thing, wouldn't it? And can you imagine if we actually had an audience with her? Because of who she is, I think most of us would be awestruck. Would that be fair to say? Yeah. How much more the King of Kings? Yeah. How much more our God who's a consuming fire? How much more the one who you know, speaks like thunder? How much more the one who can shake the earth and it splits apart? How much more the one who created volcanoes that tear the top off a mountain and change a landscape? How much more the one who, I guess with a breath, can create a tidal wave that can wipe out communities? What an incredibly powerful God we serve. And yes, we have grace, we have liberty, we have joy, but on the other side of it, you know, worship is about being in awe of our God as much as anything else. And I think that the whole thing of reverence and awe is something that perhaps other styles of, you know, churches have at times done better than our style of church. But having said that, we probably do some other things like the freedom, the joy part, maybe a bit better than maybe they do. But if we put it together, we've got a balance. But you know, in our own lives, if we are going to be associated with a kingdom that's immovable, then to receive that kingdom, to make that association, one of the things that has to happen is we have to be in awe of our God. Got to be in awe of Him. And I guess for me over the years I've been in awe of God because of things I've seen and also things I've experienced. I guess things I've heard as well. So that's probably three areas. Things I've seen, things I've heard about, and things I've experienced myself. And you know, I remember being 8 years old and having Tommy Evans come to our mission station and do a series of meetings, and the power of God just flowed day after day after day. And people were out on the floor and outside, trying to walk home. The power of God hit them. They'd just be lying in the grass overnight. Didn't matter. The power of God was just all over them. People got healed. They got delivered. Their lives were transformed. People by the hundreds got baptized in the Holy Spirit. And many of them, even when they stopped speaking in tongues, if someone spoke to them and they went to answer, they would answer in tongues. And this went on for days. I've got to tell you, as an 8-year-old boy, I found a place of holding God in awe. Yeah? Because I'd never seen this before. My dad was an evangelist, my mum was a teacher, and they were a good combination because Dad would go out and preach the gospel and in new areas, start new churches. Mum would come behind and and disciple and whatever, and in some places even started primary schools. But so they were a great team, but neither of them flowed this way. And when Tommy Evans came through, man, I learned how to be in awe of God. Yeah. But I've seen God do miracles, that have just absolutely gobsmacked me. I'll never forget one of the trips to the Solomon Islands. And I took a band with me and we played an hour's concert each night, and then I'd preach. And so we're in the Lawson Tama football stadium in Honiara. And so the band played and the crowd came and all that. And then when I preached this one particular night, hundreds and hundreds of people came forward for prayer. And in the middle of them was this white guy amongst all the Solomon Islanders. And obviously he stood out, I mean, it's, the lights aren't that bright at that football stadium, and so he really stood out compared to all the Solomon Islanders in the dim light, And so I said to him, what do you want God to do for you? And I'm standing up on the stage they built, and he just pointed to his eye. And this eye was looking at me, but this eye was out here. And I just said, be healed. And his eye just went like that. And he just ran out of that crowd of people who were wanting prayer and ran around the stadium 2 or 3 times. Just so excited that he could see in focus for the first time in his life. I got to tell you, those things just cause you, I don't know about you, but what an awesome God we serve. Now we say awesome, but what it means is we hold him in awe. We're in awe of what he does. We're in awe of who he is. In the last couple of weeks, we have had Beryl, who's not here this morning. She's been here with glaucoma. And it's medically proven. She has 6 years of records with an eye specialist. Went to get her eyes tested for a new pair of glasses, and Specsavers said, where's this glaucoma that you're supposed to have? Isn't that awesome? That was after we prayed for her here on a Thursday morning and they're healing me. Wow, come on. I don't know about you, but awesome. And we could go on and on with awesome things, if that's a word, because we've all seen them, we've all heard about them, and we've experienced them from time to time ourselves. But this immovable kingdom is about the fact that we have a God who we can be in awe of. Yeah? In awe of. And if you're not in awe of God, you're missing, I think, one of the greatest things in this kingdom walk, in this kingdom life. Because why would we serve a God we're not in awe of? Come on. I mean, people who worship rocks and trees, that's all good, but why worship the creation when you can be in awe of the Creator? Yeah? Isn't that what the Bible says? And so to receive this kingdom or to associate ourselves with this immovable kingdom, one of the keys is to be in awe of the King himself, to be in awe of the God who is a consuming fire. So how do we become in awe of him? Well, I think we need to remind ourselves regularly of how awesome he is. Which is what I've just been doing for the last few minutes. Yeah? How awesome is our God? Yeah? We see him do incredible things. Apart from the fact we know he's the creator and he's over all things, we see him doing miracles and healings time after time after time, even amongst us as a small church. Isn't that incredible? Yeah. What an awesome God. So I want to encourage you to find that place where you're all over again in awe of God, of who he is and the great things he does. Amen? Go to Psalm 78 at some point and read that, because it's a psalm that talks about really the history of all the awesome things that God did for his people. And it's amazing going through it one after the other. Psalm 78. But maybe it's time we go back and remind ourselves of the incredible things God's done for each and every one of us. Yeah? A couple of Thursday mornings ago, we had a bunch of testimonies after the service was over. And it was awesome. It really was. It was incredible. And we're seeing this time and time and time again. Why? Because it's who our God is. And because we are those who associate ourselves with a kingdom that is immovable, and we're in awe of the King of that kingdom. Amen? All right, number 2, reverence. Now, this doesn't sound anywhere near as exciting. And in fact, the original concept, in the original language, the concept is downcast eyes. So if I just said, the next key I want to talk about to associating ourselves with this kingdom that is immovable is to have downcast eyes, we would see that as a negative usually, I think. Yeah? But in reality, it means to defer to honour. There are some cultures where you don't raise your eyes as a mark of respect. Yeah? And that's what it's talking about here. That if we're in awe of our God, then we find the ways, and in this biblical terminology and in the culture of the day, the way was not to look someone in the eye who was important, but to actually drop your eyes as a mark of respect and to defer to them because of their position and their status. And so what it's talking about is, if we are in awe of our God, then we find the ways to honour our God. We find the ways to defer to him, to his authority, to his power, to his greatness. Yeah? We find the ways that are meaningful for us and for him to actually honour him, to worship him, and to give him his rightful place, and for us to take our rightful place. Yeah? So that's what it's talking about here when it talks about reverence. It's not talking about being quiet in the service. It's not talking about a certain kind of liturgy. What it's talking about is a way to defer to him because he's greater than us, and a way to honour him because he is greater than us. So if we're in awe of him, this is easy, isn't it? Because if we are in awe of our God, then it's one of the keys to associating ourselves with his kingdom that can't be moved. And then if we're in awe of him, then we are going to honour him. And that again causes us to associate ourselves with his kingdom. Because our focus is on him. Yeah? If our focus is on one another, guess what? Eventually, the enemy's going to make sure that we see stuff in one another that's not helpful. And therefore we tend to become disassociated from the kingdom over time. Yeah? But if our focus is on him, guess what? We're going to be so associating ourselves with the king and his kingdom that we are going to be becoming more and more like him, which means that the love we'll have that is his in us will cover one another. It will, because the Bible says love covers a multitude of sins. It doesn't say it condones them, but it does cover them. And we don't even see some stuff in each other if all we can see is our God. And so if we're in awe of him, and we're deferring to him and honouring him and worshipping him, and he is the focus of our hearts and our spirits, our minds, focus of our lives, then guess what? We're going to be so enraptured with him that we're going to be more and more becoming like him. And we're going to be seeing the best in one another. Isn't that awesome? Yeah. And so therefore, as a congregation, we'll be together associating ourselves with what the kingdom is about. And what is the kingdom is about? It's immovable. It's unshakable. Yeah? So if you need stability in your life, this message is for you. If you need to sort out some sand underfoot, and get onto some solid ground, this message is for you. If you need to get out from under something and get back on top again, this message is for you. Actually, it's for all of us, all right? Because we're in this kingdom, and if we're going to associate ourselves with this kingdom, then here's some keys. Be completely consumed with Him. Yeah. Be in awe of Him. And live a life of honour and worship Him, of deferring to Him. In other words, be enraptured by Him, be consumed by Him. And then our lives and together as a congregation will be seen as being associated with the kingdom of God. Awesome, hey? All right, number 3. In most translations, I think it says acceptable worship. It literally means well-pleasing service. Well-pleasing service. So does God give us a list and go, here's what I want you to do and here's how I want you to do it, and if you tick every box, then I'm well-pleased? I'm so glad God doesn't do that, does He? He doesn't give us a list of what to do and how to do it, and if we get it all right, then we're okay. So well-pleasing service obviously is not that, so then what is it? Well, we'll see, well-pleasing service flows out of what we've been talking about. If you love someone, then well-pleasing service is not a duty, is it? Well-pleasing service is not an obligation. Well-pleasing service is not, well, let's go through the checklist. Well-pleasing service is that because you love a person, you know them, you want to do everything that's the best for them. Isn't that true? And so well-pleasing service to God, if we are in awe of Him, and we're honouring Him, and we love Him, then guess what? We are going to want to live a life that He's going to be able to say, hey, that's my girl, that's my girl. Yeah? Where he's going to be able to say, just like He did of Jesus, this is my beloved in whom I'm well pleased. What an amazing thing that is. And yet God's stamp and His seal upon us is not because we're obeying every law perfectly. Because we can't do that. But it is upon a people who actually honour Him and are in awe of Him and love Him, and so therefore we live a life that honours Him. And He is well pleased, not because we've earned it, but He's well pleased because it's evidence of how much like Him we are becoming. Amen? That's the difference, isn't it? So it's more about who we are becoming rather than what we're doing. Because what we are doing flows out of who we're becoming. So if we are associating ourselves with Him more and more and becoming more and more like Him, then our service is going to be well-pleasing because it's going to be evidence of becoming more and more like Him. Isn't that fantastic? Number 4, gratitude. Gratitude. Let us be grateful. Let us be thankful. Do you know that the concept here is to actually hold. To hold something. But it's not just the act of holding something, it's about how we hold that something. Can I be turned up, please? I'd rather be up there. Because they're not really relaxing here. Thanks. This concept of gratitude, grateful, is about to hold with grace and cheer. How's that? To hold something, but not just to hold on to it. So it's not, well, let's hold on to this kingdom. Let's make sure we don't lose it. It's not about that. But it's to hold it in a certain way. It's to hold it with grace and cheer. In other words, to hold it with the grace of God and with a gracious attitude, but also with a joy. Wow, what a fantastic thing. So this is not a duty, is it? It's not a duty where we have to hang on and hope we don't lose it. This instead is something that we have a grace for and something that is a joy in our lives. Isn't that awesome? Because why would we be in a kingdom where there wasn't joy? Why wouldn't we be in a kingdom where there wasn't grace? We wouldn't be thankful to be able to associate ourselves with a kingdom that lacked joy and grace, would we? And so what it's saying here is, let us, with grace and joy, hold on to this immovable kingdom. Isn't that brilliant? And hold on to the fact that we can be associated with and associate ourselves with this kingdom. Yeah, isn't that good? And so, when it says let us be grateful, you can see where the concept is. It does mean to be grateful, but it's bigger than that. It's let's hold on to this fact. And let's be joyful and have grace in this, that we are actually able to be associated with this kingdom that can't be moved, which means that we ultimately can't be moved. Wow. So I wonder if it uses the word thankful or grateful, but what it really means is let's hang on to this thing because it's worth hanging on to. And let's hang on with joy. And let's hang on with grace to the fact that we can associate ourselves with this kingdom, that we're a part of a kingdom that can't be moved. It's fantastic, isn't it? You know, I am more than ever in my preaching life enjoying doing word studies, in the original, because it's so rich and it just changes, the meaning or adds the fullness of the meaning of what the Holy Spirit was inspiring the writer to write about. And so he's saying here, come on, we can be thankful that we're receiving this kingdom that can't be moved. But if that's all it says, it leaves us far short of the real possibilities and the greatness of what God is saying here and what he offers us. He's saying, actually, let us, with grace and joy, hang on to the fact that we can associate our lives with a kingdom that is immovable. When you put it like that, isn't that powerful? It's incredible. So it is something we're thankful for, but it means way more than that. And how do we do it? Well, we hold on because we're in awe of our God. We hold on to this fact because we are honouring him with our lives. And we hold on to this because there is evidence in the way we live and serve of us becoming more and more like him. And so therefore, it's evident that we are holding on to this fact that our lives are more and more being associated with the kingdom of God. And if our lives are more and more being associated that way, then everything of the kingdom is flowing in greater measure in our lives. So his love is going to be more and more evident in our lives. His peace, his joy, his goodness, his kindness is more and more evident in our lives. His power is going to be more and more evident in and through us. His supernatural outcomes are going to be more and more evident in our lives. We are going to continue to see what we've already been seeing over the last nearly 6 years, and we're going to see it in greater and greater measure. Why? Because if we are becoming more and more associated with the kingdom, then more and more of what the kingdom is about is going to be evident in and through our lives. Amen? And so when it talks about, Jesus said, go, as you go, preach the gospel of the kingdom, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, and on he went. And then he said at the end of Mark, go to all the world and preach the gospel. He who believes and is baptized will be saved. And then he says, and these signs will follow those who believe. In my name they'll cast out devils, they'll speak with new tongues, if they lay hands on anyone, they'll be healed, and so on. All of these things are going to more and more become evident in our lives and in our church. I mean, we've seen a number now of medically attested miracles, which is just awesome. And a whole bunch of others, maybe hundreds of other miracles, But if we are holding on to this fact with grace and with joy, that we serve a God who we can be in awe of and who we are in awe of, and our lives honour him in every way. And that's evident in the way we live and serve. Then the miraculous is where we're going to live. It's not going to be an occasion. It'll be our lifestyle. Because this is what the kingdom is about, isn't it? This is the kingdom that is immovable. And guess what? When we go through difficult times, you know what's going to happen? We're going to more and more associate ourselves with an immovable kingdom rather than us being moved. When the world around us is being shaken, what's going to happen is we will less and less be shaken because we're identified with a kingdom that is immovable and unshakable. Isn't that awesome? You know, the world's changing around about us. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and I'm not just talking about the Middle East. There's stuff in our political world, there's stuff in our economy. You know, there's shifts going on in the values in our nation, and what people believe and what they stand for, and all kinds of stuff that's going on. But you know, we have a kingdom and are in a kingdom that cannot be moved. Yeah? It's immovable. It's our anchor. And what does an anchor do? Storm will come, but the boat still stays there. There might be the occasional, you know, bit of this stuff go on, different seasons of life, but if we're immovable, we're not going to get blown away by the wind. Isn't that awesome? And so let's not misinterpret the bouncing up and down on the waves in a storm with anything else. Just because we're going like this in a storm doesn't mean that we are not immovable. Yeah? It's that whole thing I mentioned recently about the waves and the tides. You know, the waves come and go, come and go, come and go. But the tide, if it's rising, it just keeps rising. Yeah? And it's constant. Do you know, an anchor makes a boat constant as far as its location is, no matter what is going on in the water around about it. Yeah? And so we're a people who, because we're associated with, because we're identified with the kingdom of God, which is an immovable kingdom, and even in the midst of all the stuff that might go on in our lives, our families, our businesses, in the community, or the world around about us,